What's up, everybody? What's going on? Today we are jumping into episode 7. We're going to knock out the scaffold for the note part of this app on the API. So we'll build out the model and all the routes and get that squared away. And that should be enough to get today going. So let's dive in.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our code here. I think it's here. Yes, that is it. So we'll go ahead and sublime this directory. All of it. Perfect. All right. So the first thing we need to do, and all this video is really going to be, is just kind of scaffolding out where we're going from a note perspective. So we're going to jump in. We're going to build out the model. So we're going to set up what the data looks like for our notes. It's going to be super simple out of the gate. We will probably refactor it, but that's okay. Not refactor. We'll add more functionality, which will cause a refactor, I'm sure. So let's just get right into it. So let's create our new model. New file. We're going to save that as note.js. Save. All right, so let's go ahead and, the usual. Bring in our, wow, that is really big. I'm going to take it down just a notch. Okay. Mongoose equals require mongoose. Validator. Actually, we won't need a validator or bcrypt for this, so we'll leave that. We don't need it. We just need mongoose. Perfect. Okay. Const note schema is equal to mongoose dot schema. Oops, it's not schedule. All right. So that needs to be capital S. And we're going to do, so we need the user ID so it can associate to the user ID. And it gets a little weird when you start doing NoSQL databases because you really shouldn't, NoSQL databases don't work like SQL databases. There shouldn't be a ton of relational things happening. But when I say that, I also do use a little bit of it because I think it makes sense in certain situations. Feel free to tell me I'm wrong and provide documentation as to why I shouldn't. I would love to learn why. I have not found anything that made it like terribly unperformant yet. So this is how I normally do it. But if anybody, provides me with a reason not to, I'm totally down. I'm all ears. So we're going to go with notebook ID. So we're going to do notebooks, but we're going to do it a little different. We're not going to then, just as I got done saying, we're going to do some relational stuff. We're not going to do much. It's really just the user kind of database, and then the rest will be notes for now. And so we need a notebook ID. The notebook ID we will not actually have a database of notebook names and like IDs associated to a user that associates. We're not going to do that. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to create notebooks on the user. Sounds crazy, but that way you always know what notebooks they have, and you can query that from the same user profile that you query on login. So you can always check to make sure you're the most updated when you're logging in, when you're changing screens, all that stuff. So yeah, we're going to try it like that. We'll see how it works. I didn't initially intend to do that, but now that I'm thinking about it, I think that's how we're going to go for it. And again, if anybody has any other ideas, throw it out. We'll dive in and figure out how we can make this better together. Required true, trim is true. Sure. All right. I'm going to note content. We're going to say type is string. Required is true. It's got to be, even if it's just blank, it's got to be something has to come across. That should be good. We don't need to trim that because you never know. And then we'll do created on. This is just kind of just some paperwork stuff. Eventually, I think I'm going to add a date. We'll say default is date.now, I think. Or no, capital D, sorry. Date.now. Yeah, that works. Come on. And then we're going to do update on. So I think at some point I do want to add, I'm just going to copy and paste this thing real quick because save us a few seconds. And lastly is deleted. So I am a huge fan. Anytime you're dealing with like cloud type data, is to make it a soft delete. Now we'll eventually write something that will basically take basically a deleted file from a certain number of days out, like probably 90 days, and move it to like some other kind of storage that's not active storage that we're paying a lot of money for. But yes, so I like to go very simple. So that is the extent of it generally. So let's go ahead. The other thing we're going to do is set up an index on this one. I'm gonna give myself a little bit of breathing room here from the bottom of the page, and also got to do one of these. I feel like if I stay inside this, it records better. Sorry about that. Okay, so we've got that. Okay, so we're gonna create an index. This will again morph and evolve as we go here, but this is just kind of a general starter package here. So we're going to say note title and just text. Nothing crazy here. And like I said, we'll revisit this and go deeper into what an index does. And when we start looking at some performance type stuff, again, we won't do a ton of that, but we are going to do a little bit of it. Statics dot edit note. So no. Yeah. No, we're already at 6 minutes. So yeah, we'll go ahead and jump over. Now we're going to create a routes file. And yes, routes file. So we're going to save that as note.js in the routers. And we're going to do const express equals require express. So const note equals require. And so this is basically bringing in your note model. So we're going to say models/note. And then last, certainly not least, auth, which we wrote. Or have we written that yet? I don't think we have, actually. We haven't. Damn it. That's another mistake. Ooh. Okay. That should do it. So we're going to do const router equals express dot router. Boom. That needs to be capital, I think. So let's go ahead and create our routes. So we're going to go simple notes create async request response as always equals boom. All right. So this will be creating a new note. And then we'll go ahead and we'll come back. Router.put. So this will be notes edit, or yes, notes edit. Async request response equals that. Bada boom. All right, so this will be editing a note. And we're going to do router dot delete will be next. Notes delete. I keep jumping outside that freaking parentheses. Okay, async again. And we're going to say request response again equals boom, boom. This will be deleting a note. Oh, come on, dogs. Router.get. So this will just be getting all of the notes. Yeah, that's right. If you can hear my dogs barking, apologies. Dang it, I keep jumping outside that. Async request response equals boom. Okay, so this will be get all notes by user. Save that. That looks pretty good. And then obviously we need to do our typical module.exports equals router. Cool. Okay, so now we have the very basic stuff done here. Okay, so let's go back into our user router real fast because, or no, I'm sorry, not our user model. So we're going to make a small tweak here and add our notebooks. Again, I know this is a little off from what I typically do, but I think, or how I normally do this, but I think this is going to be interesting. So type is equal to string. And we're going to set our default is equal to. So this will make sure that we have every person starts with a default notebook. So we're always associating a note to a notebook. And then if they want to spin up new notebooks, then they can choose between them. They'll also be able to set up a way for them to edit the title of the default one. But this starts out with something there for us to associate to and for them to use, which is perfect. All right. Perfect. That should be, we're at like 10 minutes now. Yeah. We can probably go ahead and set up our model calls here. At least I don't want to go too crazy because I don't want this thing to go too long. So we'll do note schema dot statics dot edit note equal to async note. Oops, too many. I'm passing the note there. And we'll do that, and then we'll do note schema dot statics dot delete note is equal to async. God, I hope you guys can't hear the dogs. Note ID. I understand that all these things, it looks super insecure right now because we're not doing any authorization on any of these routes yet, but we will add those in. So when this comes through, it looks like, oh, you're not really doing much checking of data or anything. Like, we will do some cleaning up of data, but we will mostly be making sure that the user is who they say they are. And what the heck? Where did they make sure they say who they say they are before they get these things? So it's not like we're gonna leave these things wide open. Right now, we're just doing just local development, starting to get our feet wet, the good stuff here. So we will definitely go deeper here. And then I almost forgot, we also need to actually export this as well. Mongoose.model note schema, using the note schema. Okay. And then module.exports equals note. Perfect. The last step is to add this to our app. So we're going to say const note router is equal to require routers note. Perfect. And we'll come down here. Oops, we're going to say app.use note router. So now we have that. Let's go ahead. For starters, you got to start your Mongo. So mongo d, and you probably don't need to do this, but I put the path to my data file. Save that. All right, so now let's go back here. We should do npm start. Let's see if we have any errors. We have an error. So I have an extra comma somewhere. So where is that at? So we're looking at note line 37. Note line 37. What is wrong with that? Oh, I think that's a colon, not a comma. Sorry about that. All right, so save that. And we have a working note.
So that's it. Kind of basic, kind of fast, made for a shorter video. I'm good with that. We'll jump into the CRUD operations in the next video, and that's where we're just setting up create, read, update, and delete. So we'll be able to set up a note, read that note, update that note, and delete that note all within the API. And then we'll move on to actually adding that into the apps after that. So appreciate everybody's time. If you like this content, please hit subscribe, hit the alert notification, and like this video if you like it. Take care, everybody.